When you see yourself in the mirror, you know that you see a reflection. You know that the real you is here. And in the mirror, it's a reflection. So, this is how I experience the universe, the world, everything that is here. It is a mirror of myself, but myself is more real. Consciousness is more real. And yes, in consciousness, in your own awareness, you see the forms, the shapes, the energies, the reflections. The sages used to say that the moon's reflection in the pond is just an appearance. The real moon is up there. So, what is real is your own awareness, consciousness, this pure, all embracing openness, all inclusive openness. This openness, it equally allows everything to be here because resistance would be already a process and energy. So, in the closest, deepest sense, you are awareness. That feels most real to you. And what appears is also real. It feels real, but not as real. So we are not denying the existence of the universe, of energy, of everything that is happening here, beautifully manifesting here. It is all here. Now, to come to this sense of realness of your own consciousness, your own self, that is the journey, that is the path. And this path is equal to what you are mostly familiar with. So that is a direct reflection of where you are. If you are very familiar with a sense of being present, you sense your lovely energy field, the spaciousness of your energy field. That is already a deeper way indeed. But that is not all embracing consciousness, all embracing openness, including everybody else's, so to speak, presences. The same way people ask about awareness. How do I relate in awareness with energy? Because energy is sticky, it tends to pull you, it tends to grab your attention and to make you feel more limited. What is the relationship between your deepest self and the energy? And how do we maintain balance, harmony? What is the best way to work with it? First, we know very well that energy can pull you. It can pull you in many ways, left and right and up and down, forward, backward, and so on. Something can easily grab your attention. Little change of circumstance, something unexpected, and you're back in the energy, back in more limited sense. And from that perspective, your attention becomes involved with energy or a mental process or emotion. And when your attention gets involved and engaged with a mental process, energy, or feeling, in that process of your attention being involved, engaged, that's where you feel that discomfort that this is not how it's supposed to be, that something is more limiting. And there's this natural resistance, a natural sense of some sort of limitation or a slight separation or resistance. So now we're defining the problem. We all know it. We all been there. It happens very often. As you practice presence and non-duality awareness and staying in the self, you also know this problem very well because you see something passing by and suddenly your attention gets drawn to it and you engage with it and you forget about your lovely self and you got distracted. It happens easily, very oftenly. Everybody knows it, nothing new. So, at whichever stage of growth you are, it's all about integration, wherever you are. If you are practicing presence right now, how to be more present, less engaged with energy. If you're at awareness, how to stay in awareness and less drawn into the phenomena, into the objects, and so on. So, how do we find the balance? What is the best relationship? What is the best way to tackle your attention and what arises? First of all, the real work happens in practice, in meditation. So, as you step into meditation or as you become very present or more aware, that's where you set the stage for growth. You set the right environment, you set the scene. Now I'm ready to grow, mature, and do the real job. You already know where you want to integrate. Even at the highest levels of full consciousness, the self, same thing happens. Something older comes up, grabs your attention away, and oh, I lost myself for a moment. So, this is the process of integration. So, how do we tackle it? First of all, we set the stage. So, we're in meditative state, we're present, we are ready for the practice. We meet the energy itself. We say, what is here now? What is energy here now? Something is here. Some sensation, a process, waiting, trying, expecting, being excited, or engaged with any other kind of feeling, emotion, or thought pattern. So we meet what is here and we allow it, first of all. We say, all right, this is here. Some kind of uncomfortable sensation is here. First thing we say, okay, I can be with it for a while because I'm stepping into my practice. Let's allow it to be here, this feeling, emotion, energy. So we remove the walls of resistance. We remove avoidance. We're not trying to escape because everything that pulls you into something is your way of growth. It is your way of growth. And that is beautiful because 5 years ago, you would get very distracted by something more crude and dense. Now you are getting distracted by something much deeper. And you already can see the progress you have made. 5 years ago, what would pull you? Some low energies and very dense emotions. And now something much deeper, higher distracts you, pulls you. You already made a big progress, by the way. So that's the first good news. We should be valuing and being grateful for those distractions because they are opportunities for you to integrate deeper and for you to realize your deeper self more. Because at some level, you are still not seeing fully, not realizing fully who you are. So, thus, you give some power away to that which draws you, that which pulls you. This is already the biggest answer spoken right away. I went right into the core of why it happens, why you get pulled. You need to learn also more about the processes, the relationship, how to deal with it, how to be with it. So, as something arises, you acknowledge, okay, now I'm getting pulled into something, I'm getting wet. For those familiar with the river of the mind, I'm getting wet, I'm getting pulled into the energy. And if you are in the practice, in meditation, allow yourself to be pulled. Say, okay, this is pulling me, let it pull me in. And you will see that space of allowing is very needed, very supportive, very necessary. Because as the pull arises, you instinctually want to avoid it, but that never helps. But if you consciously allow yourself to be pulled into wherever is engaging with you, since you are in the meditation, in the practice, it's okay because you are in a supporting environment. You know that you will not get lost so much into it. So you say, okay, this is arising, this is pulling me, or my attention is getting engaged with it. I'm starting to sense the discomfort of more limited self, but let me allow myself to be pulled into it. And that you can do because you are in a meditative state in your practice. If you are not in a meditative state, you are meeting your friend and something is going on and you feel you're pulled into something, you're not in a supportive environment. You need to become more present, more alert, and to maybe change a topic of conversation. So you can do that. You can always change the topic of conversation. Bit by bit, people realize that, oh, now we came out of this, whatever energy was starting to be cultivated, which is unhealthy. So when a person comes out of it, then they see in the light of brightness, oh, yes, it was good to change the topic. So know this, that you can always change the circumstances. But when you are in the practice, in meditation, you should allow yourself to be pulled because you are present. You are already aware. And you will say, I want to be more present. I want to stay in presence. I want to be in awareness as awareness. I want to be the self as the self. And I'm trying to stick with it. I'm trying to hold on to it and not let it go. I heard this story many times. And my advice is allow it to be pulled, because that will allow the process to happen and to reveal itself, the reason of the process. Maybe it's a new energy that you need to become more familiar with. Maybe it will point to some conditioning, a limitation that you had or you hold. Maybe it will point to a certain resonance that you have, like you're giving your power away and you don't even know it. And if you allow it to be pulled, you will see the bigger picture, how you give the power away. Because what pulls you, it's the raw energy, the raw thing, the real deep raw thing. And then on top of it, there are stories, circumstances, and so on, but they're not so important. The more important thing is the raw feeling, the raw energy. So it's very good to dive into this raw energy. Now, at the same time, of course, you should not get lost in what pulls you. You are present, you allow to be pulled, but then you gently come back. Now, many of you will say, I know where you're going with it. Yes, and then you gently come back to your presence. You gently come back to your awareness. You gently come back to the self. And then you're sitting as the self, as awareness. Now it's natural. You're not trying, you're not forcing, you're not putting a condition. I have to stick myself in awareness as awareness and so on. And something else arises and you explore it. You explore it, what it is, why it pulls you, what is the raw feeling sensation that pulls you. And then after 20 minutes or so, it moves through you. And by the time you have gained a certain amount of maturity, you have gained a certain amount of immunity from something more negative, or a certain amount of deeper seeing. And then again, as it passes by, oh, now it's easy to be as the self, as awareness or presence. So this is a natural way. We're not forcing anything. We're not resisting anything. We're not avoiding anything. We are meeting whatever arises, and we are maturing. We're integrating and seeing deeper. And it brings us back to the Buddhist teaching of the middle way. When you are in the supportive environment, which is the meditation itself, you are in the middle way. And then you should be neither too loose, neither too tight. If you're too loose, something will come up, you'll get drawn into it, and you will wander around for half an hour and then remember that, oh, I was meditating actually, but now 29 minutes I was wandering in my thoughts, imaginations, planning my day, or just pondering upon something happening inside you. That's okay. If that happened, maybe you need to do more practice. Then the next time you try, you will be maybe 10 minutes more present and 20 minutes wandering around until you will develop a sense of presence, a sense of stability to be in the deepest self that you have access to against or in relation to those rising cycles. So cycles are coming and going. Now, if you avoid or push away a cycle, or you say, I feel this sense of limitation, or a sense of separation, or I resistance, or I don't want to feel this thing, why it keeps coming to me, it means you are not in the right relationship with what is here. It's like having a boyfriend or girlfriend. If you are sitting at the dinner table and you are resisting him or her, or trying to avoid him or her, or not allowing fully him or her to express themselves, the relationship is not so well. It's not going to go. So the evening is not going to be so good. Same thing. So right now, that is your deepest self and that which is happening, arising in you. So it is your relationship with what is arising in you. It is your relationship with phenomena, with appearance, with deeper nature of aspects of the universe. And I tell you that this way I have explored the universe. This way I became present with the deepest feelings. This way I became present with the most beautiful things and the most challenging things. And then I saw that they're all interconnected to the various dimensions or various slices of the universe, because in the astral plane you are drawn to certain things. You are drawn to some challenging negative things, maybe a few good things too. If you go to higher planes, that now I'm speaking already about the law of resonance. So as you are present, something comes up, and it may be a particular challenge, a theme of your life. But as you see through it, you will start to see the gifts behind it. So essentially, in the deepest sense, you become the space, the ground, the openness for whatever arises, whatever happens. It's not an easy process. There are no shortcuts. But that's how you grow. That's how you mature. This is why it's a relationship between your deepest self, in the highest sense, consciousness itself, relationship with the energy, with the world, with the universe, with angels, with gods and goddesses, with anything that appears, good or bad. It's a certain relationship. And as time goes by, you become wiser. You say, I've been present already with a lot of things. And if you feel that you've been present enough with many things, I tell you that again is your impatience. That would be your impatience. Say, oh, I'm tired of being present with things. No, that would be already the impatience. Or some people say, how many more things I have to be present with? Everything that comes your way. What comes your way is whatever comes your way. It's all for you. All of it is for you. Whatever touches you is for you. Good and bad is for you. This becomes the relationship with everything, in essence, in the deepest way. It's a relationship with everything that ever happens in the deepest way. Because you always are present in the deepest way with the raw energies, contractions, senses of limitation and discomfort, or beauty, love, and bliss as well. Everything that comes your way is a certain relationship with it. And as a good relationship, it grows and matures. And having done this for years and years, very sharply, very intentionally, many times something would arise, and due to the sharpness of the attention or the focus, concentration, I would catch that stream and say, oh, I need to work on this. It was mild, it arose something, and it was already going by. But since I want to do more work on myself, I would catch it and say, oh, okay, I'm not allowed this to pass away and sneak by for next time to come back. I'm going to work on it right now. So I bring it back and see, oh, okay, why is it in my field of awareness? It relates to this and this and that. And I work on it, polish it, or even finish it off. And this is how you spin the cycles of your resonance. You spin the cycles of the resonance. This is important, what I'm saying. Many of you already know what that means, but essentially you resonate with the cyclical nature of experiences, which all point to specific things, energies that you resonate with. And on the grand vortex of the universe, there are many cycles at this layer, there are many cycles at a higher layer. At each of the layer, there are many cycles. It's all cyclical. And I knew this a long time ago. And I knew that as soon as I will finish off the cycles at this particular stage, my soul will graduate. I would see in the past the soul reviews happening. I wouldn't need to die to have a soul review and reincarnate and to continue in this old fashioned way. I could complete the whole soul cycle at this particular place within a few months. Yeah, meaning the whole lifetime of experiences in a few months. And then again, something new arises, and on that particular new plane, I would explore the cycles with all the positive and negative aspects. But they're not negative, really, maybe challenging. But challenge makes you grow. Challenge makes you grow. That which is not easy is that which helps you to grow. That which is already easy, you are not thinking about it. It doesn't cause you any trouble, neither too much interest or excitement. Yeah. So you have new interests and you have some new challenges, and both make you grow. So this is the middle way, the relationship between the energies and consciousness. And we may see this way with all the sages, all the gurus of all ages. They would speak about it in different ways and different languages, but essentially it comes back to the same thing, the same principle. So we may say it is a universal principle of a way of relating between yourself, your deepest self, and that which is arising or which is present, which is happening. As a very beautiful example, I can give you a suggestion, a little book called Tao Te Ching. This book very beautifully puts into perspective how you can live from a place of contentment, completion, openness, even in the midst of things that are happening. In the midst of the chaos, you can be the space and peace behind the chaos. Any advanced yogi would also see through the nature of energies, the nature of cycles. Essentially, it is a universal principle regardless of which language we choose, which spiritual tradition we choose, or at which era of history we live in. We will see that Guru spoke about this many thousands years ago, and a few hundred years ago, and today, because it's a universal principle of how it works. And in the Buddhist tradition, it's called the middle way. So Buddha has realized that the liberation from suffering is the middle way. Because if you're too tight, if you're too strict on yourself, if you're performing austerities on yourself, you will not be happy. Your emotions are suffering, or other parts of you are suffering. Many yogis have tried to perform austerities to find liberation, but liberation is balance. It's beyond the contraction or tension and beyond the looseness. We all know that laziness is a big ruler in this world, and we all know that stress is a big ruler in this world, and neither nor feels good, because when you're lazy, you have no energy. You don't feel happy. When you're stressed, you also don't feel happy. So you feel happy right in the middle, when you're not lazy and not too stressed either. That's where peace is, contentment, all the beautiful things open up in this middle way. So, this is the relationship that you can learn and cultivate. And this is what we practice here at New Humanity Life. This is what we always keep pointing you back at, this path of the way of the universal principle. We may call it the way of the masters, the way of the sages and gurus, because they always knew about this. And they tried to explain it depending on their circumstances. Yes, and we simply may realize now we're more at a more intelligent age of science and knowledge. So we may call it a universal principle, how cycles, energies work, and how you can relate with all of it, whatever happens.